Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain.
Any second now, it will all be over.
Giles Brown.
Time is blimey. Put that lightsaber down. 21 minutes to the top of the hour, of course, with you until 3 o'clock. Joining the studio now by, well, cabaret artist, therapist and coach, hypnotist, Stuart Ashing. Stuart, good afternoon to you, sir. How are you doing?
You managed. I'm really amazed you got that all in one sentence. Everything that I do. That was great.
That's, you know, it's part of the training, absolutely. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, how you came to be doing what you're doing, because you're from the north of England. I can tell that by the accent's a bit of a giveaway.
Well, if I let the accent out, I'm a Geordie.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. So, some of us are, north of Watford Gap ourselves. So, tell me, how did you get involved with doing what you do?
Right. Just as I mentioned when we arrived, on the topic of phobias, which is what we're going to talk about today, I've always been puzzled why some people react one way and other people are just kind of okay with stuff. For example, I got stung on the face when I was about 4. My mother was a bit sort of like panicky kind of type.
Right.
So instead of, there and put a little plaster on, it was like, call the cavalry, bring in the helicopters, everything like that. So as far as I was concerned, I was dying.
It's okay.
So I had a very strong negative experience sort of about the whole thing. So for about 5 years, even if somebody just mentioned the word bee, never mind a real bee, I'd be one of those cartoon cut-out characters where I just, I'm through the wall and I'm gone. So I identify strongly with all these people out there that have these very irrational, strong feelings and have got no idea why they're acting in such a crazy kind of way. Is
it a trigger thing? Is it something that sets you off and goes somewhere deep inside you, that something jangles the nerve ends and you go, right, I can't hang it? I mean, I personally, my phobia, and this will make you go, what on earth? I can't stand people brushing their teeth.
Yeah?
Yeah. It makes my back go up, all the hairs on my back.
Well, just the sound of it.
And even on TV, if people are doing it on a commercial, I'm out of there. I am, and I don't know why. I can do my own teeth. But if anybody starts talking to you and brushing their teeth, I am, like you said, through the wall, gone, like on a Friday afternoon.
You can feel it now, just talking about it.
Exactly. Yeah. If a Colgate and other brands are available comes on the TV now, I'm there, I'm gone.
Well, speak to me after the show and we can get rid of that in about 20 minutes or so.
So, I mean, why do people have phobias? I mean, why do people...
Well, there's people like me that have an experience, usually earlier on, that with me I got stung in the face by a bee. Later on, some kids, when I was swimming in the river, as you do in the summer in England, a bit cold.
The Tyne's never been known for its Gulf Stream, but there you go.
I was swimming up and down, and then lots of kids started yelling by the riverbank, going, like that. So I'm like, what? And then I started feeling little prickly sensations on my legs. And I'm going, what's that? And then it goes, there's rats. Then I panicked, forgot how to swim, nearly drowned, but managed to get myself back together and swam the side of the river, because that river there is about 30 feet deep, and I was only about 10, something like that. So, right mess when I got out, and same again. Because I'd kind of got the bee phobia, I'd attached kind of something to fear. That situation of confusion and fear and everything attached rats to the same part of me.
Blimey.
So for the next 4 or 5 years, anybody mentioned rat as well.
Through the wall again?
I'm through the wall again, yeah. I'm out of there.
Okay.
So usually you get a very specific event happens. There was a woman that I worked with on the previous incarnation of this station, REM, with Mary Harbo. She got a lady in that had a bird phobia. I mean, off the scale, similar to mine.
Right.
And I worked with her. We might do this in a later programme. Within 20 minutes, with her eyes open, live on air, I got rid of her bird phobia like that. And we were at Los Monteros, where we're outside with canopies with lots of birds flying around. So my first job was to stabilise her. Then the second job was to get rid of the phobia. So we sat there, and then within 20 minutes, we sat around doing the wind-up afterwards on air. And birds were landing on the edge of the table, and she's going, it's really weird. I can see the birds, and I know there's part of me used to run away, but I just feel really okay about it.
Okay. So, I mean, with what you do, I mean, explain a little bit, I mean, what is the process? You say you stabilise somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, short of, hitting them over the head with a foam club, how do you stabilise somebody who has a deep, and, these things are very personal, obviously, but, people with phobias will absolutely panic. That's why they're phobias.
Well, essentially, because they're emotion-driven, like fear, usually, causes the anxiety. there's something specific would cause them to do that, whether it's a dentist or somebody brushing teeth in your case, or a needle. There's thousands of them, spiders, birds, widths, heights, depths. They all trigger the same adrenaline, sweaty palms, heart goes in the chest. It all triggers the same basic program. So people say, well, there's so many phobias, how can you deal with all of them? If it's a specific phobia, like someone sees an aeroplane, I worked with a high-ranking police officer. I can't say which region because it might make it quite plain who he is.
Right.
This guy's in charge of hundreds and hundreds of police, riot police, very clear-minded, knows exactly what he's supposed to do. But if you actually wheeled an aeroplane next to him while he's in charge of all these riot police, he'd turn into a gibbering wreck.
But fear of flying or of that is a relatively common. But we would call it a phobia, or is that perhaps people get?
If it's specifically an aeroplane,
right?
If they see the aeroplane or they're booking the holiday and they know they're committed to getting on the aeroplane, then they usually start getting the feelings pretty much straight away. So some people suffer this for days and weeks before they actually get on the plane. Some people are a little bit more specific. It could be just specifically turbulence. They're okay with an airplane as long as it doesn't jiggle up and down too much.
Fair enough,
for other people like me, if it starts jiggling up and down much, my attention's usually distracted elsewhere.
Right. Okay. But so you talk them through the process. How do you go about?
Okay. What I'm trained in is something called, specifically for this, is NLP Fast Phobia Cure. It was developed by a couple of American guys about 40 years ago in the States, and it's what it says, neuro-linguistic programming. It helps you to reprogram the way you view the world just through natural language, so you don't have to close your eyes and get formally hypnotised. So if you've got a panic thing going on, the last thing you want to do is close your eyes in case somebody's got a spider creeping up behind you, or a bee or something like that.
Visualise something and all you can see is eight hairy legs coming behind you, sort of thing. Yeah.
So what happens, if I can explain the process, is I say to them the brain usually learns much better when you're relaxed, focused and having fun.
Yep.
So I ask them to think about times when they've been relaxed, focused and having fun, and just get them to lock onto that. Then the next step is I get them to get a clip, like a little movie clip in the head of when they were safe before the event and safe after the event. I said, don't go into the feelings, just imagine yourself, being safe before the event, safe after the event, and you've got the little film strip in your head. And we take them to a movie theatre, and they look up at a big screen, blank. Then we leave the part of them that's got the problem in the chair whilst they go up with me in the projection booth. So what we're doing is we're creating a distance between the problem and themselves. It's quite simple how it works, but essentially what we're doing is, for the first time in their lives, instead of experiencing the thing and then getting the feelings and it's click and it's there, we're creating a situation whereby it keeps them separate from the problem, emotionally separate from it. So mentally they're seeing themselves down in the film studio booth thing, and the other part of them is screaming at the film and getting all the feelings whilst they just sit there with me in the projection booth. There's a couple of other things happen, but essentially what it does, it scrambles the trigger in the head. So for the first time in their life, instead of it going from there's the thing, click, run, scream, panic, whatever it is, all of a sudden the mind's learned that it can be calm whilst this other part of them that's been causing them the problem just kind of goes boof and disappears. It's quite strange how it works, but I've got rid of some amazingly strong phobias. We're looking 20 minutes.
I was just saying. It's life changing. The fiancée who couldn't get married because she had a fear of of jewellery.
Yeah.
If you're going to get, if you say, do you take this woman through the wall, down the aisle, like that,
yeah,
runaway
you try
bride,
and stick
basically.
a ring on her finger and it's runaway bride.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's gone. She's out of there. So that one, there was a couple at one of the hotels that I work at with my show. Went through the process. At the end of it, I took one of my rings off and said, I want it back, mine, because it's, I bought this one in Egypt, and gave it to her and held it in front of her. I'd already knew that it had gone because I'm a bit like a poker player. I can read people really, really well. So I know when they're not going to twitch. Even before they think about twitching, I can see it. So I only expose them to the problem, if necessary, after we both know that it's gone. When they're not twitching in their seat and sweating and things.
Right.
And I handed her the ring, and I didn't say, will you marry me? just have a look at it.
Yeah. There's a look there from the sofa behind you that's coming at you.
And she looked at it, and she went, wow. and she actually saw it for what it was, or what it is, which is just a lump of shiny metal, and just went, oh, it's just a lump of metal. And I goes, yeah, it always was. Welcome to the real world.
Right.
And then they hugged each other, and everyone cried, and I cried, and everything, because they were able to get married. One of the, unless you've got a freakier one on there, bodybuilder vomiting. He's got a young family.
Right. Well, he doesn't like vomiting.
I
mean, who does? But I mean, that's beside the point.
Even if he sees somebody on, the police force Britain or whatever it is, where they're dealing with drunks on the street, if somebody starts going...
You do that very well, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I love sound effects and things. So if there's anybody who's got fear of vomiting out there, I'm really sorry about that. Even just seeing it on TV or hearing it, on a radio programme, like...
Yes, okay, yes, yes, okay. All the young ones move, all the young ones TV
he would need to get out. Well, the problem is, he's a big, beefy bodybuilder, muscles all over the place. And he can't look after his young family. His wife's got to do all of it, because if he even gets a whiff of vomit or hears the kids vomiting, he's off and running down the street. Which
again,
is
and being that size, straight through the wall again.
Yeah. But imagine, if the house is on fire and one of the children starts to throw up, kid's going to burn.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. Yeah.
It's my wicked sense of humour.
Exactly. Small dogs.
Yeah, teenager, small dogs. Again, it's kind of this thing, yeah, I'm a teenager, dude, yeah, whatever, talk to the hand, yeah, and all that, parents and all that stuff. And then you get, like, a chihuahua comes up to him next to his mates, and the little dog goes, "Roo, roo, roo, roo," and this guy goes, "I want me mum," and starts running and sweating and things. So, yeah, I worked with that one.
Sand.
Yeah, there's
a phobia of sand.
Yeah.
I understand being buried up to my neck in it, and several have tried over the past years, but this is a phobia of it being stuck to you.
Well, this is a bit of a tricky one, because we moved out here 9 years ago, and a friend of ours came out at the same time, and she says, "Do you want to go to the beach?" She goes, "No." I goes, "Why?" He goes, "Sand." I goes, "You've moved out to Spain and you don't like sand. Come on, get out of here." So I sat down with her for about half an hour and had a chat with her, and then straight after we went down the beach. What she really didn't like especially was if her feet were wet, or if children, how they get wet and then they roll in the sand.
Yes.
So they look like a sand monster.
Yes.
That really freaked her out.
Sorry. Yeah, okay.
She'd vomit and
the bodybuilder would run away through the bodybuilder would run away
down
whilst travelling with the girl with the yeah, exactly. I'm with you so far, yeah. Fear of heights. Now that's quite a common one. I mean, you can say that people say that a lot of people do have a fear of heights.
Yeah,
because it's a long way down there. Beautiful hotel, roof with the sea view, and can't even go on the balcony because she's...
Yeah, there's one of the hotels we work at, in their infinite wisdom to allow their tourists to enjoy the wonderful pleasure of vistas of sea views. The balcony's about maybe 5 feet deep from the patio windows, and they've got chrome tubing surrounding glass.
Right, so just straight out.
Straight out. Yeah. So you could stand in the doorway and you can see over the edge all the way down.
Ouch. Yeah. So that's, a fear of heights is obviously quite perhaps a more regular phobia, I think, than
the big problem for one of the specific hotels we work at is they've got a bridge that goes over the road to the water park.
Right. Know which one? Yeah.
Which is about 40 feet high and open on either side with a handrail.
Right. Yes, I do know exactly which one you're talking about. To be honest, you've got more fear to be travelled by the elephant.
It sounds insensitive, but I can giggle about it because I've experienced it myself, how crazy it is you've got this herd of people at one side of the bridge unable to go over with their kids to the water park.
Because, yes.
Spot the height phobic.
Yeah, exactly. They'd rather take the chances with the traffic. Another one, a fear of... Well, is this a phobia, a fear of pain? I mean, I think everybody's quite... oh gosh, pain coming up, fantastic. Unless you play rugby like I do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much,
You get phobias of specific items, pens, needles, situations, doctors, dentists. But yes, you can get phobias of people that have developed a kind of phobic response to... Maybe they just didn't like the pain that they had sometime, or maybe emotional pain. That starts getting a little bit more complex. So you've got simple phobias, which is, I've got a phobia of a pen, for instance, or a needle.
Yeah.
Or a bee. They're very specific. But then you get slightly more complex phobias. Like, for instance, on the sheet there's the thing with David Beckham.
Yeah, well, he's got... Well,
he always comes across as very neat and precise.
Not a hair out of place.
Yeah, almost. Well, dare I say, gay-looking a little bit sometimes. He's like he's just.
You dare, sir? I don't think you get away with it. But we're almost at the watershed. Yes, but he's very.
He just looks too well manicured for a normal bloke.
Metrosexual, I believe, is the word.
Metrosexual.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Well,
we have the same skin scare routine, you know, don't you? Can't you just tell? Yes.
But he needs to have everything in order, which is kind of. He has a phobia of things being disorganised or messy. So he gets to his hotel room in Hollywood and starts organising all the magazines and makes sure his aftershave bottles of his own
in
brand.
order and
everything's
in alphabetical order.
And the tops are aligned perfectly so that they face south or whatever the hell it is. I don't know what it is.
It's pretty much like my own place, I can assure you. Yeah, exactly.
Like everybody does it.
Exactly.
But that's that kind of emotional thing. If he doesn't do it, then he feels really... That's almost bordering on obsessive-compulsive. That gets into other areas.
Now, Brittany. Now, we like Brittany because she's obviously off the scale.
Yeah.
She's got a fear of now, let me get this correct. If I get it wrong, I could do probably 3 or 5 years in an institution. Herpetopia, fear of large lizards. And who hasn't got that one?
We talked about that.
If you watch Game of Thrones, fear of large lizards. Reptiles, lizards, Komodo dragons, and make her really uncomfortable. Also, Madonna. Now, this is one because she's not the quietest one in the book, is she? She's got a fear of thunder.
Yeah, so she likes jogging. So she prefers to live in England.
Well, yes. And Pamela Anderson, which is the most bizarre one, a fear of mirrors.
Yeah, that's strange, because she must have a hairdresser do her hair.
Right.
Most people just stand in the mirror in the morning and go, yep, that's me, let's get on with the day.
Not a problem in my case, but anyway, yeah, obviously.
But with Pamela, she's obviously got 3 people around her going...
You look wonderful, darling.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey.
Chewing gum.
I mean, how can you be afraid of chewing gum?
Our granny used to... You know how people, like at school, sometimes people stick it under the corner of the desk?
Does your chewing gum lose its flavour on the bedpost overnight, etc.?
Just for later, for the next class.
Ah!
Our granny used to stick it under the side of the coffee table, so she used to get her very upset about that one.
Okay. And I think the final one of the celebrity, shall we say, phobias... Megan Fox seems to have seems to come top of the list of several things. Normally most beautiful woman in the world, but she's got the family fun set, hasn't she? Let's face it.
She's a hypnotist.
I mean, for phobias, not anything else, by the way, in case anyone else is listening. She's got
fear of darkness.
Right.
Not just darkness as in, oh, it's dark, I'm getting afraid.
Right.
She's got, oh, it's darkness. I wonder what else is in
the
there.
darkness.
Then there's germs.
Yeah, okay.
In general, so that can lead off into obsessive compulsive.
She could hang out with Beckham because he could put he could put the tops and do the magazines, and she could go scrubbing behind him doing the bits. That'd be perfect in Hollywood.
Yeah, they'd work well together as a couple. So there you go, David. There's your next tip. If anything goes
badly wrong with Posh.
Yeah.
Indeed, if she doesn't put the gels in the right order, and also she's got a fear of looking, and I get this to myself, a fear of looking at her own photographs. I mean, both you and I have been, perhaps on frequent occasions. Yes. So, I mean, what's that one about?
Well, I don't know. You got me.
Right. So she says, I don't watch playback, I don't look at photographs, I have a phobia about it.
It's probably the same as, people that don't like the sound of their own voice.
I wouldn't know what that is at all. Just quickly, though, but it just says here, and if you watch the Transformers movies, have you seen the Transformers movies?
Once or twice, yeah.
Have you now? Right, okay. Well, she says she has a fear of looking at her own photographs, and she was afraid of looking at photographs and videos from Transformers when it's released. A report states she actually drank champagne to get the courage to watch the movie. Know the feeling, Megan. Know the feeling.
That's like the police officer. He'd get a load
drink
of
champagne before dealing with the riots. That would go down really well. Okay, right. If people want to find out, we could go on for hours, but I'm going to run out of time.
Yeah.
If people want to find out a little bit more about yourself, how to treat phobias, I know we've treated it quite lightly today, but it is quite a serious manner, young man.
My son sat over there in the back of the studio, like rolling around laughing.
If people want to find out a bit more how to treat phobias, because they are life crippling, they are life changing.
Yeah. If I'd not got rid of my thing of bees, I'd just be like a wreck.
Right.
Right, if they want to get in touch with me, not that we're punting my services at all.
But hey.
Or you want to find out how you can get help with it, which is very, very simple. The website we've got